every part of the society feels threatened for raising any independent opinion or any view which might be critical of the government. Congress party is a vibrant opposition and will stand with the people of Assam as they fight for their rights.
What you are today, how much of it is actually Tarun Gogoi? It's not so much Gaurav Gogoi. It's because of your father's legacy that you are where you are.
I think a lot of me is my father. I think because I've learnt politics from him. I always believe that actions speak louder than words. So they might have all the words to describe us, but they are the ones who live like kings.
Are you going to pitch yourself as the CM candidate this time?
I don't think that's a decision that I have to take. I think that's a decision for the party leadership to take. We have this new term in Assam for the BJP, which is called Goro Sur, which in Hindi means guy chor, or in English becomes cow thief.
So, you know, the Prime Minister was directly responding to you, and it seems that he conceded, at least that's what I understood. What can you explain?
It's not only the job of journalists to fact check, but also for politicians and especially for those of us in the opposition to fact check the Prime Minister. The first thing for us as a party is to free the people of Assam from this reign of terror and intimidation, and that's our primary focus.
In this episode of Leaders Lounge, I have a three-time Member of Parliament from Assam, a very strong voice from the opposition in Parliament. It's my privilege to introduce Gaurav Gogoi. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Afrida.
So good to see you, Gaurav. It's really nice, and when meeting you in Assam is even better.
Absolutely. It's also your home state, so yes. Good to see you here as well.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I was wondering, three-time MP, of course, when you joined, you were in your early 30s. But all three terms, you were in the opposition benches. Do you crave now, like, you know, when will my time come to be in the treasury benches? Or you're reconciled to this?
No, not at all. But you know, you learn so much when you're in opposition. Okay. I think adversity teaches you a lot. Adversity is a privilege because I really see myself, my party, always, you know, trying to be better at communicating our ideas to the public. So I think it's been a fantastic way to talk about our ideals, which remain the same since independence, but to tell them in a newer, modern, articulate form to the younger audience. And we've learned a lot, and we learn a lot also by looking at this government and knowing that when we come to government, these are certain,
you have hopes.
These are mistakes that we will not repeat.
Let's talk about the recent events in Assam. We are sitting here in Guwahati, where you had Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, yourself addressing people in various pockets in Assam. What was the intention? Did you want to set the narrative or set early, the momentum early, because it's going to be elections next year for Assam?
Well, in Assam, the kind of politics the current government is practicing is the politics of fear and intimidation and harassment. Every civilian, every part of citizen, every part of the society feels threatened for raising any independent opinion or any view which might be critical of the government. An ordinary villager is scared that they might lose access to government benefit schemes. A journalist is scared that they might lose their job or even go to jail. A businessman is scared that his shops might be closed down or his business might be raided. These are things which are not in theory, they have actually happened. So I think the message of the rally was clear, that don't be intimidated by the politics of the current BJP government in Assam. The Congress party stands with you. We had a very successful turnout. A lot of party workers came to that rally. And I think the very next day a message went that the Congress party is a vibrant opposition and will stand with the people of Assam as they fight for their rights and fight for the democracy. Two
things have made headlines which you're already aware. One, of course, is Mr. Rahul Gandhi saying that here is a man who knows very well that he's going to go to jail and this is just a facade and there is fear in his heart. Do you think that was the right strategy? Because, you know, being a observer of Indian politics, don't you think that sets a bit of a negative connotation that, you know, Mr. Gandhi has come here and immediately speaks about sending Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma to jail?
Well, sir, when politicians practice the politics of fear and intimidation, I think it's very necessary to send a message to those people that they will not be sitting in power forever. And it is very important for us to send a message to the public that they don't have to suffer the injustice of a government for too long. I think that that's a very important message. It's a message which empowers the people that they have the right to vote as per their wishes. They don't have to suffer in silence. And it sends a message to those sitting in power as well, that one day they will be out of power, and that day when it comes, they will be held accountable for their actions.
You know, the other headline, as I mentioned, is the one where Mr. Gandhi talks about Maharashtra mein cheating hua hai, mandate churaya gaya, and ye yahan pe mat hone dijiyega. I mean, I can understand because of the Bihar revision of roles and all of these issues combined, Congress does have this very strong pitch that it has not been an even playing field. What makes you so convinced, and I'm asking you entirely from your point of view, that Maharashtra mandate was unfair or it wasn't a level playing field?
Because we are seeing elements of that in Assam already. We had panchayat elections in Assam earlier this year, and I saw in my own Lok Sabha constituency people who voted in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections just a year after just could not find their name in the voting list, and they did not have access to this information until the very end. People who voted in one polling station, 8 months before during the Lok Sabha, found their name at a completely different polling station during panchayat elections, and again they had no access. So the election commission, especially in the preparation of their voter list, is acting in a very opaque manner. It is making the ordinary voter it is making life very difficult for the ordinary voter to find out whether the name is on the voting list or not, whether the name is correctly spelt or not. And it's making it very, very difficult to find out if they are fake voters which have been added to the list or not. I don't understand that in a modern digital era, why, when we have the right to information, why is the election commission, the government, trying to build such secrecy around the voter list? And I think we've got several evidences of what happened in Maharashtra, how in a span of 7-8 months close to 1 crore new voters got added, how thousands of voters were registered with one address. And all of these questions, when you ask the election commission, all that you're met with is just a blank stare with silence. And I think that's not healthy for democracy.
Which you said you're going to raise in Parliament, and that is what I wanted to ask you, that with this issue of the electoral revision, which is of course have been taken up very seriously by various media outlets, but what is the primary issue here? Because it's very connected to the CAA and RC process that was conducted here. And I feel, again, I'm a critic and I'm an observer of your party as well. So let me put it this way, that why is it that you didn't see, and I covered your campaigns during state and Lok Sabha elections, that the Congress never managed to take this issue which was ready on a platter, where you could have said that, look, this chronology of first allowing some citizens of, refugees or whatever of other countries into the roles and then making an NRC is a clear, it's visible what the intention of that could be, that you want a electoral roll suited to your vote bank. Why hasn't the Congress, if I were Congress, I'm just saying, that would have been my main issue. I'm just saying as a political observer, that the Congress campaign, where I see where you have ready issues, you have not been able to hammer it down.
Okay, so let's start with the first question, which is why the question of election commission and voter list is important. Because it is got to do with the fundamental right to vote of a citizen. It is not a Congress issue, it is not a BJP issue, it is not a media issue, it is not a party issue. It is for the fundamental right of every citizen to cast their vote. And no Indian citizen should be denied that vote just for their political influences. And that's happening on a large scale, on a systemic scale, and therefore it's extremely worrying. And therefore, all of us must be very aware and conscious, and we have to be an informed citizenry. The only way democracy thrives is when citizens are informed of their rights and are able to challenge for their rights. And I think that's why we are seeing this systemic assault on the citizens' right to vote, and that's why the Congress party is making this such a big issue. But coming to CA and NRC, you have to remember, Afrida, the pitch, the feverish pitch of this entire issue was in the 2021 Bengal elections. And
no, 2019 were major protests here.
They were Assam. Also in major protests in Assam. But the remark that you heard about chronology, the term chronology came in the 2021 Bengal election. It seemed as if the way the BJP, because they would talk more about this issue in Bengal, and in the end the people of Bengal, Bengalis themselves rejected this and thrashed the BJP soundly in the Bengal elections.
But not the same didn't happen here though.
The
surprisingly,
same did,
despite all the protests that took place.
The same did not happen in 2021 state elections. But I think 2021 state elections, we were also coming after COVID. At that time, we lost a stalwart Congress leader, my father. So there are many other issues. Congress went for a tactical alliance with a party which benefited us tactically in some seats, but it also damaged us in other seats. There were also newer parties which came in, which managed to break into the opposition vote as well. So I think there are many such issues. I think at that time in 2021, we had a fantastic campaign of Save Assam, in which we talked about many such issues. I remember you say that we didn't take it seriously, but Rahul Gandhi himself came to Assam, and I remember in a rally he wore Assamese gamusa, and it was written CAA and it was crossed out. So it was very loud and clear, both through our campaign and through our leadership, that we opposed the CA and NRC. And I think there are many such issues for which we didn't do so well. So I think today people are understanding that this government is acting like the real estate broker of Adani and Ambani. Wherever they want land, they're just handing it over to them on a platter, irrespective whether it's forest land, tribal land, protected by the 6th schedule of the Constitution. The government is simply not doing that. So it's extremely relevant, and the Congress party again is, making strong, strident remarks on this issue.
I started this question asking you about being born into privilege. Of course, your father was a 3-time chief minister. What I want to actually know from you, Gaurav, is that you won with a big mandate against all odds. No one can deny that. The last Lok Sabha election, and 3rd time you were into parliament. Now, how did you convince? Because see, again, this whole narrative is hammered down a lot by the BJP that these are dynasts. I mean, Rahul Gandhi, Gaurav Gogoi, they're born into privilege. They are the prince, or whatever the term they use. How did you break that image when you go to your constituency? Before it was Kolyabor, now it is Jorhat. How do people relate to you in Assam?
I think people of Assam and generally across the country are extremely wise. And I always believe that actions speak louder than words. So they might have all the words to describe us, but they are the ones who live like kings. Their ministers right now, they have these alishan bungalows, and they are building tea resorts, and they're building hotels. And people of Assam can see that it is actually the BJP government, their ministers, who through their wives are just grabbing up land everywhere. And we just had a controversy a few weeks ago where we saw that government schemes, central government schemes, up to the tune of 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, meant for ordinary Assamese people, are being siphoned off and are being diverted to the families of BJP MLAs and ministers. So, when they talk about dynasts and dynastic rule, their actions are so sacrilegious, they are so blatantly corrupt, that I don't think people pay attention to their words and hold them account for their actions. In fact, we had this another government project where close to 300 cows were being brought from Gujarat for a dairy project in Assam, meant to help the dairy farmers of Assam.
That made a
and
big
in the end, what happened was that out of 300, 100 cows were again not given to dairy farmers, but were taken to private dairy farms of BJP MLAs and ministers. So now we have this new term in Assam for the BJP, which is called Guru Sur, which in Hindi means guy chor, or in English becomes cow thief. So therefore, as I said, actions speak louder than words. You might have all the stories and messagings and campaigns, but if you yourself act like such privileged, authoritarian, fascist rulers, then I don't think people will support you.
There are quite a few speeches of yours which I've watched intently, and one particular speech which I want to play out for our audience as well is where you are raising the issue of Ram Mandir consecration. Obviously, Congress was uncomfortable ahead of 2024 elections. This whole inauguration happened, and BJP is ready to capitalize politically. You raised this issue in a very interesting way. Let's listen into that. I want to play it out for our audience.
जय श्री राम कहते हुए इतनी कटुता क्यों? मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम या राम को नमन करते हुए इनके वाणी में इतना हिंसा क्यों? इतना घृणा क्यों? इतनी घृणा क्यों है? आप राम भक्त हो ही नहीं सकते अगर आपके अंदर घृणा हो। आप राम भक्त हो ही नहीं सकते अगर आप नफरत फैलाते हो। आप राम भक्त हो ही नहीं सकते अगर आप दूसरे पे गोली चलाते हो। आप राम भक्त हो ही नहीं सकते जब आप दूसरे के धर्म के अनुष्ठान को अगर आप कलंकित करते हो। तो हमारे लिए तो ये ग्रंथ एक ही है।
My question to you is that, of course, you tried to make people aware of the fact that while ab Ram Bhakt aise nahi ho sakte, just by doing this, and you cited certain other things, but it didn't work for you. Did it actually backfire on you? You feel that you raised the issue of Ram Mandir in this manner?
Actually, if you remember the 2024 Lok Sabha election result, the BJP lost Ayodhya. So even the people of Ayodhya could see through the politics of the BJP. And people in India are extremely religious, deeply devout, extremely spiritual, and many don't like politics to be mixed with religion. They treat it separately. And I think that's something that differentiates us from the BJP. We are equally religious. We were not uncomfortable with Ram Mandir, as you pointed out in your question, but we don't want it to be used as a way to seek votes. I think to seek votes on behalf of Lord Ram is to demean and dilute our religion and dilute our devotion to Bhagwan Ram. So that's what I was pointing out. And that's not just my personal opinion, but even Rahul Gandhi in Parliament has said that the BJP don't represent Hinduism, and Prime Minister Modi is not a reflection on Hinduism. It's completely different. And I think that's been our position as well. I mean, we are the party of Mahatma Gandhi, who was deeply devout, and they are the party that have inspired in their past Nathuram Godse, the person who killed Mahatma Gandhi. So that is a distinction that is necessary to be brought out in public domain.
Gaurav, I'm going to show you two more clips. One where the finance minister is rather agitated with you, because I can see that she is addressing you, and there is a controversy with a word. I think somewhere she said Lukha, and she says, I never said Lukha. It's quite funny. Let's watch it.
I didn't use any such a word. What is Lukka? What is Lukka? Who used it? Who used it? I have not used it at all. I am not a Hindi Bhashi either. I have not used it, sir. Sir. That's right, whoever used it, right? I have not used it, sir. I'm sorry. What? I have not used it. I don't even know that word. What are you throwing it at me?
What was that?
You see, we always have a little bit of repartee back and forth between the two parties. I think it's healthy. Everything need not be serious. But at the same time, even while we are making remarks at each other, there has to be a certain parliamentary standard that we must all adhere to. This is not a street corner meeting, it is the Parliament of India. And I think she referred to a word which was she knew was unparliamentary.
But she said, I never said it.
After I raised it. So immediately when I challenged her on it, she took that word back. But that's, I think,
she said, I'm not Hindi Bhashi, I don't even know that word. Are you one of those who would
she often speaks in Hindi.
She does, yeah.
She's not a Hindi Bhashi, but she often speaks in Hindi. And she's a very seasoned politician. She knows how to give it back.
Do you think she's in the reckoning to be BJP president? I'm going a little off track, but
I have no idea. I think right now I'm so engrossed in Assam politics, having been the Assam State Congress president a few months ago, or actually literally a month and a half ago. So I have no gossip on Delhi.
You don't
must
have
tell
anything
me.
to share with me. But tell me, this matter has been raised by Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, no less, about 75 and the age of retirement, and a lot of your colleagues and others have raised the issue that is he alluding to Prime Minister Modi. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, often Mohan Bhagwat ji has made certain remarks which the people of India think are referring to Prime Minister Modi. I think one of the most famous remarks came after the 2024 Lok Sabha election results, when Mohan Bhagwat ji said that nobody should think that they are divine or they are God. And it just happened a month after Prime Minister Modi in a TV interview said that he believes he is some form of divine incarnation. And lo and behold, they don't even cross majority, forget about crossing 400. So I think this is an old pattern that we see. It goes, and again it's for them to clarify, and I don't think it's our business to speculate.
But it has been your business even to heckle the Prime Minister. I mean, let me show you that video also. Let's take a look.
जहां एक परिवार को पार्टियां लिखी जाती हैं, वो लोकतंत्र में उचित नहीं है। लोकतंत्र में पार्टी एक परिवार के 10 लोग राजनीति में आए, कुछ बुरा नहीं है। हम तो चाहते हैं नौजवान लोग आए, हम भी चाहते हैं ये इसकी चर्चा करिए। हमारे साथ आपके साथ मेरा विषय नहीं है।
So the Prime Minister was directly responding to you, and it seems that he conceded. At least that's what I understood. What can you explain to our viewers what was happening?
I think it's very important to fact check, and I think it's not only the job of journalists to fact check, but also for politicians, and especially for those of us in the opposition, to fact check the Prime Minister. And when he's talking about that the Congress party practices, believes in dynastic politics, while sitting behind him are all ministers who come from very, very powerful political families, I think it's a bit hypocritical, and it's a bit ironical, and he should be called out. And often
you called out there and then. You thought you should just.
Well, I think it's important to fact check on the moment, right? Why let a moment slip? And often the BJP, when they are pushed back, then they talk about that. Well, we don't talk about these people who come from political families when they are ministers. We're actually referring to those political parties where the head of the party is always a member of the same family. And I think that's again where I fact check the Prime Minister, because they've been with the Akali Dal, they were with the PDP, they are with the LGP, and it's always the same family which is at the head of the political family.
You literally listed them all out over there.
Well, I did, and therefore I think the Prime Minister ended up saying that actually he's all for dynastic politics, because he said that he has no issue with 10 members of the same family joining politics.
What I'm trying to bring up here is one side of your personality, because people think, and I face this too, that people from Assam, from the northeast, are slightly mild-mannered. We don't have that guts and gumption all the time to say something very outright. You're a different person in Parliament that way. I know you personally. I have not seen that side of you when I interact with you, but in Parliament when I see you, where do you get that fire from?
Well, I think it's very common that when you are in a field like politics, you have to be combative, and especially when you have a government which for a long time had such huge numbers in its favor, you have to be combative in order to make yourself heard. And I think that's something I understood very early on. The politics of the 2000s of the UPA era, has changed to a very combative, bold, assertive politics. And if you're not combative, if you don't assert yourself, you will simply not be heard and you will be overwhelmed. And I think if you allow yourself to be overwhelmed, you're being unfair to those who believed in your ideology, those who believe in the Congress party, for those who supported and voted for the Congress party. So when I am combative, I'm not just for myself, but for all those people who believe in a strong opposition, and also all those who believe in the Congress party.
But is there a price to pay? I'm asking you this because see, the Modi government has used the services of opposition leaders, and one would have thought that your name should have been there, right up there as combative, one who speaks his mind, one who is able to make a point, articulate person in parliament. But there were so many from your party. You think you annoyed the Prime Minister a bit by heckling him like that time and again?
I don't think so. I think he's a veteran politician. He's seen many of this, in his long career.
But did you miss being in one of those delegates who went, to make India's point abroad?
Well, I'm grateful for my party for sending my name, for nominating, for believing that I could represent India on the global stage. And then it's for the government to whether accept my party's proposal or not. But I'm glad that the party felt that I'm someone that can represent India at a global forum.
Yeah, but it was very clear, right, that the members of the opposition, they were seen more than the members of the ruling party when it came to making a pitch. Whether it was Asaduddin Owaisi, Shashi Tharoor, all of them ended up making a far stronger impression. Do you think the members of the opposition did a better job and the government couldn't have made such a strong impression without them?
I have, what I've observed, that there are equally such articulate voices in the BJP. The difference is that in today's BJP, they are simply not allowed to rise. The BJP of today prefer discipline and order over merit, over excellence. And therefore, many such people who can give the right advice on finance, on economy, on law, they're just simply not promoted by Prime Minister Modi and Home Ministers Amit Shah. And therefore, this opinion of yours was very stark and evident to see, because here, within the Congress or in other political parties, there are people who have a very independent view, whose view is sometimes different from that of the leadership, but they are allowed to represent the party. But on the other side, even while still being a disciplined soldier of the BJP, just for the fact that you are meritorious, you're intelligent, you're almost punished for it. And I think that's why you can see this stark contrast between the two parties.
We mentioned Shashi Tharoor, so I want to know, of course, there's a lot of buzz around where he stands right now. There's one sort of opinion that says that he's not going to cross over and Mr. Modi wants to use his services while he's in the Congress. What is the opinion from you on this?
As I said, Afrida, I've been in Assam for the past couple of months, and I think my entire focus is on Assam. I think I'm not the right person to comment on Mr. Shashi Tharoor.
No, because you raised the issue about how people who speak are not allowed to. Is Mr. Tharoor disgruntled? Okay, I'll leave that aside. Let me come to Assam then.
Let me just to clarify. What I'm saying is how different the culture of our party is. The culture of our party and many opposition parties is that if you're articulate, if you are knowledgeable, you are rewarded, you are incentivized to continue. On the other side, on the BJP, if you're articulate, if you're knowledgeable, you are sidelined. And it's only when you have submissive people and who prioritize discipline over excellence, those are taken forward. And even if you look at the selection of the chief ministers of the BJP in states which have recently gone to elections, first time MLAs becoming chief ministers, I think this is an argument that resonates with many people in the public as well as many intelligent people within the BJP themselves.
Coming to Assam, you've recently joined as the APCC chief. It's a huge responsibility for you. To us again as observers, it seems like the party has rested this on your shoulders to make a comeback in Assam. What is your vision for the next election?
Well, I think again, as I said, we have to understand where Assam is right now. And going back to what I said earlier, there's a politics of fear, intimidation, and retribution, where journalists, farmers, businessmen, activists, feel suffocated. And I think that's a very terrible state for Assam to be in, irrespective of whichever political party, because we have seen that level of insecurity before during the 80s and 90s, where where people actually at that point of time, were afraid of stepping out because of law and order. So to have that level of anxiety and insecurity this time, not because of some external extremist or insurgent, but because of the political climate, I think that's very poignant, very tragic. And I think the first thing for us as a party is to free the people of Assam from this reign of terror and intimidation, and that's our primary focus.
Gandhi said this again this time, that there's been an appropriation of the media. He's repeated it a number of times. Despite this, can you create a campaign? Because social media is big today. Times have changed. The traditional media, the so-called mainstream, they are shrinking, and this the other media, which you can by all means use. It's an open field, just like Mr. Zoran Mamdani has done. I mean, he had nothing in terms of money, power compared to his other contenders. Do you think you have the wherewithal for that? And a young leader like you should be able to.
Again, to go back to Bharat Jodo Yatra, no mainstream media covered it, Afrida. Yet everybody saw it. Everybody felt its impact. So much so that there was the need for a different yatra from Manipur to Mumbai. Again, largely ignored by mainstream media, largely ignored by legacy media. So this is not a new challenge for the Congress party, but at the same time, we found ways to address this challenge. At the
Has the
same
media
time,
been fair to you? What is your take on this?
it's a good question, because I do see a contrast between national media and regional vernacular media. I think regional vernacular media, in my experience, have been far more neutral than national mainstream media and legacy media. And I think it's the risk for the legacy media, because young people don't watch news anymore because of the kind of biases they've been succumbing to when it comes to national and legacy media. So I think the legacy media will write their own obituary if they practice the kind of business that they are doing. They will simply lose all the audiences of the future. They will hold on to some core audiences, but the minute the new forms of media figure out a more successful, sustainable business model, I think legacy media will have to adapt if they want to survive. And I think they're trying to do it also. I do see some legacy media trying to venture into podcasts, but they're still so rigid in their alliances, in their networks, and and they are so closely attached at the hip with the mainstream government that they are slowly on a decline, in my opinion.
Okay. So, a few concluding questions. First, tell me, the fact that you are now the chief of Assam Congress, obviously questions are going to be raised now, whether you're shifting focus now more to the state, whether you are being groomed now to lead the state in case the Congress makes it back to power. Are you more interested in delving into politics here, or you're happier in Parliament as a member of Parliament from Assam in Delhi?
Whatever opportunity the party gives me, I want to give it my best. And I'm equally passionate about national politics, as well as for the welfare of the people of Assam and for the future peace and prosperity of the state of Assam. Right now, I'm the head of the party state unit, and my sole and only responsibility is to win the next state assembly elections.
Are you going to pitch yourself as the CM candidate this time?
I don't think that's a decision that I have to take. I think that's a decision for the party leadership to take. But as I said, our main focus is that we have to wrest back power from the BJP.
But if it takes your name to bring the state back to you, why not, is what I want to know. Why not? Why shy away from it? If you know it will add heft to the campaign.
That's the kind of feedback and intelligence and understanding that the party leadership in Delhi have to look at, because they have far more access to information from different circles and from different walks of Assamese society. So it's for them to take that decision. As I said, for me, my job solely is to put the party on a winning path for the 2026 assembly elections.
Your father, who I knew, of course, because I was reporting from Assam in those days when he was the chief minister here, I've seen him from close quarters. And when I look at you now, I want to know how much of you is your father, and what inspiration do you draw from him? But first of all, tell me, how much of an influence does he have? And I also want to know that what you are today, how much of it is actually Tarun Gogoi? It's not so much Gaurav Gogoi. It's because of your father's legacy that you are where you are.
I think a lot of me is my father. I think because I've learnt politics from him. So whether it's his understanding of Assamese society, whether it's his understanding of politics as a way of service to the people, whether it's his understanding of the Congress party, its history and its values, I think a lot of me is my father, and I'm glad for it, because he was a person who was regarded as a gentleman politician. He was a person who was regarded as a statesman. He was a person who was not vindictive towards his political opponents or to the people in media. Someone who used the bureaucracy fairly and did not use them as a political tool. So I rather hold on to all to these ideas and learn as much from his experiences and practice them in my work.
But you do feel that you grew out of his wings and you carved a niche for yourself in politics. People don't know you as Gaurav Gogoi, the son of Tarun Gogoi, because you have now carved your niche, or you feel that no, you're still a lot about Tarun Gogoi and his legacy, and it should be like that. What do you desire?
I think people should just look at my work. If they're happy with my work, they are, they should advise me on how I can do better. And if they're unhappy with my work, they should advise me on how I can do better.
But
so as I said, my work should speak for itself.
What was your relationship with your dad like? What were you like with him?
No, it was. It had its ebbs and flows. I think it was a very different nature when I was young. He was not the chief minister then, so he had far more time with us. We could take family holidays, and when we were growing up, he had a Maruti 800, and we would drive together as a family to Shimla. And there are memories of me sitting on his lap and holding the wheel of the Maruti 800. And then later on, as a young professional entering into field of politics, I think again there was a mentor-mentee kind of relationship where I was trying to learn a lot from him. And I think he was also, as someone who is young, who's come from an experience outside of Assam, having traveled and worked in different parts of the world, he also used to learn a lot from my experiences as well. I think he always liked to be up to date. And I think that was a good relationship that we had.
You rate him as a good dad?
Yes, absolutely. I think, he did his job well, and he taught his values well. He passed on his values.
I mean, I'm saying now you're a father yourself. So anything that you would take away from there and that you practice as a father yourself, what is the difference between the two generations, you as a dad and your father as a dad?
Afrida, if I were to ask you the same, how different is your mother's parenting style from yours, there'll be a vast difference, because there's a generational difference. Yeah. There's a generational change in the attitude which has come towards parenting. All our parents used to take a cane and a stick, and and especially Indian parents are known to be very expressive with their hands, especially when they're strict. And now today is, both kids and parents are very different. So obviously, when it comes to parenting, there will be a generational shift, which is normal.
You have straddled between Delhi and Assam, right? What do you like? As Assamese food, Khadya bhal pai ne, you prefer Delhi?
I think I just like variety. So
you like variety.
I like the fact that I can be in Assam, and every district of Assam has its own unique cuisine. If you go to a tribal village in Karbi Anglong, you'll have a very different cuisine. If you go to Barak Valley, you'll have access to some great Bengali food. If you go to Tinsukia, Jorhat, you'll have great Assamese thalis. If you go to Borpeta, some fantastic variety of fishes. And then you come to Delhi, and all the cuisines of India
you like
are there in
chole
Delhi.
bhature equally. I don't believe you. I think you like Assamese food better.
I'm a huge foodie. So if you give me from chole bhature to dosa to vada pav, to momos, to thupkas. I love the Indian food, both its culture, its flavor, its aromas, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're a country that we've held on to our traditional cuisines, our folk cuisines, recipes, as well as we've allowed different international cuisines to come and enter our markets.
Yeah, but tell me, how does it work in a home where you have two different nationalities? You know, you have different palates. Your wife, as we know, is a British citizen, so her taste, her palate would be very different. How do you guys build consensus on what should be on the table, if I may ask you?
You know, when I'm in Delhi, you know, I'm entering into her space.
Okay.
You know,
So she decides.
she's running the house. She's got the house running very well with the kids, with her own work, with all the people who are helping in the house, and it's her routine. So I just fit
give
myself.
in.
I fit myself into her life. You know, that's, you know, I don't want to come
her
to.
territory.
I don't want to come to Delhi and just be disruptive. You know, like I might be Congress president of Assam in Assam, but when I'm there, you know, I'm just a member of you know, of the family. So I have to fit in to the patterns and routines of our house.
So there is no conflict. There is absolute.
Well, only when there's only conflict when I enter the house, still thinking that I'm the Congress president. I have
there
to.
can be a problem.
She, you know.
You have to leave the crown outside.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You know, since you brought up her work and all, there's been a lot of mudslinging, and you took it in your chin. I saw how you reacted, but does it hurt, or you know, you feel that it's part of the game? Have you become thick-skinned, or someone very close to you gets targeted in this manner? How did you take it?
Well, of course, you don't expect your family members' names and pictures and faces to be dragged into public, and neither your children's, you know, private lives and private choices. But as I said, if you are dealing with an opposition, with a BJP, which is malicious, which is vindictive, which practices a very different style of politics, then you have to be ready to face it. And I think, as I said, you learn a lot from adversity. I think this adversity taught us a lot about ourselves as a family, as well as taught us how much support we had amongst the people of Assam, and the fact that the Congress party, despite this, sent me to head the party for the state leading up to the Assam elections next year, also showed the faith the party had in me. So I think a lot of good things have also come out, and I'm happy for people for themselves to see a contrast between the kind of politics that they are practicing, the kind of businesses that their family members are indulging in, the kind of government contracts and access to public money that their family members are indulging in, and people can compare, you know, their families' lifestyles with us, and I have nothing to say beyond that.
But how important is it to have a strong spouse, your partner in life, to be supportive of you in politics? I mean, we have the Prime Minister who's not married, and it seems as if they are more devoted to work. But as a family man, do you think that support from home helps even better, or you feel sometimes it can hold you back?
No, not at all. I think, you know, for any profession, I think it's very good to have a strong family at the core. I think that's what gives you stability, that what gives you strength, that also what helps you pass tough and challenging moments. Often at work you might feel as if you're alone and lonely, and there's nobody that you could vent your frustrations out, and you can come back home to a space which is safe and secure, in which you are comforted. So I think it's, you know, whether you're a sports person, lawyers, journalists, any professional, you always will rely on your family, and your family is your strongest backbone, is your strongest support. And I think it's very necessary for us to not take that for granted, and to be fully present when we are back in our homes, in our families, and therefore I have to leave the mantle of Assam Congress or politician at the door once I walk inside my house.
I want to know, last question, first on work-life balance, and second, I want to know that a lot of videos of you working out and all. Gaurav, tell us, what do you do for fitness? What do you do for mental wellness? Share your health tips and wellness tips with us.
I think it's very, I mean, you know, what you're also seeing, Afrida, these days, that there are many young people succumbing to heart attacks. You're seeing shows on Netflix like Adolescence, which shows the pressures of social media. You're seeing cases of depression and suicide just rise. So I think it's extremely important in a post-COVID world to be very conscious of your health, both physical health, mental health, emotional health and spiritual health. And therefore I do try to do a bit of everything which works for me. I think different things work for different people, but as long as you give that time of the day for that. So for me, I think a little bit of meditation, a little bit of physical activity.
I love gymming? You go gymming?
Whenever it's possible. I think
okay.
As much as possible. I think
gymming versus walks, which one?
I'm not a walker.
You're not a walker. You much rather go
I
to
rather, yeah, because, you know, a
you
gym...
need that ecosystem.
Well, also, I think I get much more out of a 20-minute gym session than I'll get out of a 20-minute walk.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's much more intense. As well as for a walk, you know, I like to take long walks in scenic areas. Okay. Right? So I can't... You know, I love to take
Delhi
a walk.
But Delhi has a lot of these beautiful parks where you could...
yeah, but you know, after you're just doing loops, right? So I'd rather take a long 4-hour walk in the hills, or take a long walk, you know...
like a trek.
Like a trek. I'd rather do treks than do loops of a park or circuits on a treadmill. I think it's very boring.
You're more of a gym rat than a walk.
Pretty much, I mean. So a little bit of yoga also, but I think it's very important to do a little bit of meditation for your spiritual health, do a lot of physical activity for your physical health, read books from time to time and not be stuck in Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple TV for... Yeah, absolutely. But you need that for intellectual health as well. I think your brain just works differently when you're reading something meaningful and thoughtful. I think we're just losing a lot of reading time. Because you know, life is so stressful and there's just so many things you want to achieve in a day. So I think all of this is a priority, and I try to, while I enjoy my food, I eat different types of food. I try to not eat as much, which sometimes can get me into trouble when I'm in my constituency, when I'm eating at a party worker's house and there's, you know, they've poured mounds of rice and I've left and I've had only a little bit of rice. I think I end up offending a few people, but I
professional hazard.
Yeah, that's the professional hazard of a politician, which is long car journeys, long frequent plane trips, eating at the wrong time, being fed, being expected to eat huge amount of food many times in a day.
True. One thing I envy you for, which I will tell you openly, is the way you have picked up Hindi and the way you speak now. So you speak 3 languages. Assamia to अपना मातृभाषा होए, हिंदी में भी आपने अभी काफी कुछ आपका पकड़ in the usage of words. You sound like a native speaker in Hindi, and English, as we just heard, you are very articulate. How do you switch languages? I have seen apni Assamia pra Hindi, Hindi pra English u koribo pare keneke?
Mane hiki bhal pao. Aru jote moi jao, wherever I go, I like picking up different languages, different dialects. So I remember I went to the Middle East for 2 months and I was in Palestine and I tried to pick up a bit words of Arabic. When I'm in Parliament, I hear someone from Punjab speaking in Punjabi, then I want to pick up a few of that. So
so you have a natural inclination to pick up languages.
Well, I'm curious. I'm naturally curious, naturally inquisitive, and I work hard on picking up words, sounds, dialects, and incorporate them in my delivery. I think there's, whether it's Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, there's such rich languages, Assamese, Bodo, Karbi, there's such rich words in all of them. There's so much to learn from languages. So I think it's both, and I feel proud to represent them, even though I might not be a native Hindi speaker, Punjabi speaker, but I think it's me being proud of my culture, my roots, and representing them on a stage like the Parliament.
It's also a necessity, let's face it. As a politician, when you're constantly communicating, it helps. You know, when you have a command over multiple languages. Thank you so much, Gaurav.
Thank you, Afrida. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much.